Hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello. I'm having problems.
And
Are we okay? Is everything okay?
yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. I mistakenly clicked on end meeting, so I don't know if I sent some people off.
Yeah, that was what happened. So I came back into. I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Please. Okay, we have Hi, Flora.
Hello.
Anu, I can't.
How are you?
Fine, thank you. Anu, I can't see you. Okay,
Good.
Great. Lovely. So, we have 2 minutes to go. Anu, you'll say the vote of thanks.
Okay.
Okay. Prof is on.
Afternoon, Prof. Aliko. Aliko. Is it Aliko?
Yes. Aliko.
Okay.
Aliko. Yes.
Yeah, Aliko.
Professor Aliko.
Yeah,
That's
Professor
good.
Aliko.
Yes. We have 2 minutes, a minute to go. We're going to start.
Hello.
Hello, Prof.
Hello, my sister Bumi.
Hello, Brother Bolaji.
Your other sister is here.
Oh,
Okay.
yes. How are you? Adamaya, right? How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Fantastic.
Very good. I had to quickly be sure that I joined before 4.
Okay, because we're having some problems.
Oh, Kilo Shale, what's happening?
I mistakenly ended the meeting before the beginning.
Yeah, but it should still be okay, though. People
Yes,
should be still be able to use it to
Yes.
log in. Yeah.
Yes, I hope so.
Yeah.
Professor Jaisimi, you're welcome.
Okay, good afternoon.
I'm here too. Mrs. Jaisimi, you're welcome. Adekumbi Abiodun, you're welcome. Mohammed Maruf, you're welcome. Maruf, Irene, Miss Irene John Ifejika, you're welcome. Sister Bumi Fabanwo, you're welcome. Anyway, we're going to start. It's 11. And
that's 11 your time, Bumi, not
oh,
our time.
Sorry, it's 4. Sorry, we're going to start now. Thank you. We have 15 on the call, and I know people are joining. Thank you so much for coming. It's I'm speaking from Canada. My name is Olubumi Shodade, and I'm the convener of the association, the Nigerian Association of Retired People, but for Refired People. We are not, our association is for the middle-aged living in Nigeria and the diaspora that are over 50. And our mission is to ensure that we all live a life with dignity and grace. And our mission is to ensure that we introduce financial prudence in our life by introducing discounts, benefits, and privileges in the marketplace, and also be an instrument of social good to our members and even non-members that are 50 and over, the elderly, and those that have challenges one way or the other, and hopefully we can be an instrument of help and change in our society in Nigeria. Our vision is to ensure that every 50-year-old and over becomes a member of NERP 50+. We are known by our acronym, NERP 50+, just because it's not only for retired people, for those that are 50 and over. And we are driven by membership and donation. We're a non-for-profit. So we have membership plans from free to a payment plan, just for us to be able to meet our goals and aspirations. And we also have donors that fund us in various ways. We had a good run during the pandemic by helping the less privileged, the elderly that were hardly hit by this pandemic and are still being hit. So we're still out there looking for donation and support to continue this mission. Please visit our website on www.nerp50plus for more information. And you can also contact us on info@nerp50plus.com. This is our second Zoom meeting. We had one last month, which was a happy hour to get ourselves out of the, just be happy, take our minds off the pandemic and the situation. But then this second one is a more intense one that is directly related to issues that concern us and will concern most of us at one point in time. And for full disclosure, the host, Ms. Flora, and the guest speaker, Professor Mobolaji Aliko, are members of the association. And I hope during the period they'll say good things about the association and why we should all be a part of it. The more we are, the stronger we become, the louder our voice, and the better we can impact and help each other. The second disclosure is that the guest speaker is my brother. Professor Aliko is my brother, the first of 5 siblings that I have. We're 6 in our family. So when I called upon him, brotherly love was just so great. He didn't even refuse. He didn't say he'll think about it. It was, oh yes, I'll do it. So I want to thank him in advance for the brotherly love he has been showing me all this while, even up to this point. Thank you, Prof, for the time you are giving us. I know you are very busy. He's in charge of the coronavirus in Ekiti State. And so that's a lot of work apart from his core duties. So thank you, Prof, for that. Thank you, sir. I would like to introduce our host, who is always my go-to person. She has been so awesome in this association. Her name is Flora, and she is a celebrity. The fact that she's here, I really appreciate her.
Oh, you have to explain that to me.
She is a professional life career coach, a workplace conflict mediator, and a training facilitator. Apart from the fact that she has a TV show, she has a podcast, Time with Flora. She's so busy, and I'm so grateful that she has been there for us every time we call upon her. She's a volunteer extraordinaire. So thank you so much, Ms. Flora. Thank you, Prof. And we hope that by the end of this session, we have a lot of conversations on retirement, the context in Nigeria, and the way forward, and the way we can actually plan for our own retirement, even within the context of Nigeria. Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Flora. I'm going to take the back seat. Anu and I will be supporting you at the back if you need anything. And also members that have signed in, please use the chat room to make comments, and we'll be drawing from there as well. And if you have any comments, we'll call you later on when our guest speaker, Professor Bolaji Aliko, has finished his discussion with us. Thank you so much for signing in. I really appreciate you all, and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bumi. Thank you so much. And thank you for the privilege. It's really a wonderful privilege to be asked to do this. As you know, full disclosure, absolutely. I'm a member of NARP and so glad to be one at the age of 55. And, you know, today, I mean, retirees are looking great. There's so much of a reason to be so boastful that, you know, we are in that space and we are very much around and very much, you know, occupying a lot of very influential spaces, both in what was the traditional sort of way of doing things, as well as very much the new space of doing things. And obviously, as you know, we have what we call the whole generational, you know, baby boomers and Generation X, Generation Y, and so on and so forth. And it was interesting because I was just checking out some sort of famous names, their ages, and what sort of generation that they sit in. So you've got the likes of, you know, Jeff Bezos, who's the owner of Amazon. Everybody knows Amazon. He's a baby boomer, just clocked into the baby boomer space at the age of 56. Tim Cook, who is the head of Apple, he's 60. He's a baby boomer. Bill Gates is a baby boomer. Elon Musk, no, he's Generation X, but he'll soon be in that space. George Lucas, everybody knows about Star Wars and all of that. Oprah Winfrey, she's a baby boomer. And as I was looking through and looking at all these very famous names and influential names, even today, you know, by all generations, a lot of them, you know, a high proportion of them are in that kind of baby boomer stroke Generation X phase of their lives. And so, you know, this whole context of retirement and what it means, you know, in terms of how we see someone when we hear the term retired being used for them has really changed. We'll be having a conversation about what that means in the Nigerian context, and I'm really delighted that I'm going to be in this session with Professor Aliko. Really happy and honored to have this space. So you know, there's a lot for us to celebrate in terms of our presence in the world today and our continued presence for many, many years, because a lot of the stats are showing, and I must share some stats, please, let me do that. There have been some stats, certainly within the last 12 months, that have said things like 82% of retirees expect to be, 82% of people expect to be or are already working past the age of 65, and they do not plan to retire. 73% think that their retirement transition, phased or otherwise, will take place while they're still at their current employer. 52% plan to work in retirement, most for income or health benefits. So, you know, I mean, there are so many stats out there, but the fact is that the way in which we should be looking at ourselves and others who are in that kind of retired space, we need to think differently and not in the traditional way, certainly as we would, I know, still here in Nigeria, where when they say you're retired, the idea is that you're now living a life of leisure, you're there to look after the grandchildren, you should be going to church, and you should be going to Barako meetings. You know, we are doing so much more than that. In fact, I know so many retirees that will say, in fact, I don't always have time for my grandchildren. I can look after them for some time, but not spend all my time doing that. So the way in which the psyche has changed with regards to retirement has really changed. And I was looking at a definition, because we're talking about a rewarding retirement in the Nigerian context. I mean, the question is, what do we mean by rewarding? Well, that's all going to be, it's all context, it's all perception to the individual. And looking forward to our guest, you know, Prof, telling us about his own perception about what he sees as, you know, a rewarding retirement. But I was looking at a definition, should I say, or explanation in the Nigerian context of what retirement is. And it says generally, it refers to the duration of a person's life after they have left the workforce. This means a person who has retired has withdrawn from any type of labor and generally engages in activities of leisure purposes. Well, you know, I think the way that we are retiring today is very different from that. And you know, Professor Aliko definitely has retired very differently. He has been twice retired and he is still very active, still working hard. What I'd like to do before I hand over to him and bring him into answering some questions and just having some dialogue with me, is I would like to say a bit more beyond what Bumi had said in terms of introducing him, because he has an amazing biography and a profile, and I think that it's worthy of just sharing some with you all. So Professor Aliko is, if you don't mind me saying so, you are 65 and still going strong. He is currently a special advisor to Ekiti State Governor and the Director General of its Office of Transformation, Strategy and Delivery. He is the pioneer Vice Chancellor of the Federal University Atukwe, Bayelsa State, Nigeria, to which he was appointed in February 2011, which he completed and retired from in February 2016. He was also pro-term VC president of the American University of Medical Sciences in Abuja from 2016 to 2018. Before his VC appointments, he was the professor of chemical engineering at Howard University, Washington, DC, USA, from 1984 to 2014, when he first retired, and chair of its department from 1994 to 2002. He is an indigene of Ekiti State, Nigeria, and dual Nigerian-American citizenship. He received a BSc First Class degree from the University of Ife, Nigeria, now OAU, in 1976. He also attended Imperial College London, UK, did a master's in DIC 1978, also attended the University of California, Santa Barbara, and capped his studies at the State University of New York, Buffalo, for postdoctoral work 1984, after which he began teaching his teaching career, at Howard University. Amazing, and there's so much more there, but I'm mindful of time. So Professor Aliko, you are very welcome, sir, to be sharing your thoughts and your words of wisdom today.
Thank you very much, Flora, and thank you very much, Flora, and 50. Thank you very much, Flora, and thank you to NAP 50 and my sister for giving me this opportunity to speak with you.
Okay. It's great to have you. So what I want to do is have you share with us, or just share your thoughts in terms of what really is a rewarding career and what is rewarding retirement, and what anyway is retirement as you see it in Nigeria today.
Well, thank you very much. Let me first state that I have two parents who were retired, and therefore I knew what retirement was from my own parents.
Yeah.
My father was retired as a university professor, but he started another career almost in politics after that retirement. So his retirement was not one of indolence. So retirement must not be looked at as one of indolence. I also had a mom who retired from university administration, but she also began a consulting work in that same area. So again, it was not one of indolence. Now, my own concept of retirement is the same, that it should not be one. First, retirement is not something that happens to you all of a sudden. Although I will say that in the Nigerian context, there are a few times when those things occur. There is something peculiar about Nigerian retirement sometimes. Sometimes somebody has been working, he just wakes up and he's said to have been retired, even though he's just 45 or 50 years old. That is a Nigerian context that can be quite debilitating. The other one is one in Nigeria in which you say you must necessarily retire, especially if you are working in government, after you've been working for 35 years or you are 60 years old, whichever is earlier, even though you are not really ready for retirement. That's another Nigerian context one should look at very carefully. The third one is the issue of contributory pension, or what they also call defined benefit, where on the one hand, government is putting your money somewhere in preparation for your retirement. And another way where you are doing your contributory pension, so that no matter where it is you are, you can carry your contributions along. Both times that I have retired have been through contributory pension. While if it is not contributory, then it depends on the ability of the institution that has been paying your money somewhere to pay you your money, either gratuity or to continue to pay some of your little money after you've retired. So the Nigerian context must look at those two factors, or those three factors. The fact that you can be retired even before you are ready for it. Second, the fact that you're retired after 35 or 60 years, or the kind of monies that you are being paid. Because when you retire, you still need some income. And the question is, when you start to do some work, can you depend on the income being paid to you, or can you work and just have this additional income just for the heck of it? And I think that matters as to the kinds of decisions you make about after you have retired. So let me stop at that for now in terms of making that Nigerian distinction.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And just a reminder to our listeners, please, your questions, I believe Bumi said you could drop them in the chat section. So please do keep doing that, and we'll be making time to take questions. Thank you very much, Prof, for that. You know, the different types of how one finds themselves intentionally or not being retired is quite interesting within the Nigerian context. You know, and of course, we do have our challenges here. The vulnerability of the pension system that we have. So you mentioned, you know, one of the ways that you mentioned was, for example, within the public's or the government space. And we know that there are certainly some challenges in that environment, certainly for pensioners. I think it was last week we saw the news about pensioners in, I believe it was Imo State or somewhere like that, who were in the process of making a peaceful protest about unpaid pensions, were horribly treated by local thugs. You know, so this concern is really something that does associate itself with pensions as well, not just in terms of whether you've put enough aside, but even when you have already believe that you have put enough aside, and you may not actually be getting what you thought that you would. So that in itself brings a challenge. And even within the private, the contributory space that you mentioned, where we you know, contribute pensions. I think I was reading not so long ago that the government is now accessing some of the pension funds that are overseen by PENCOM to be used for government infrastructures and so on and so forth. So, and when I read that, you know, there was a little bit of worry, you know, what's going to happen, because historically, unfortunately, you know, we've not had a very good track record in how we've invested money towards things that we've intended to invest money towards. So the safety of pensions, when we make those contributions, either within the public space or within the private space, cannot be everything that we put all our hopes, all our eggs into. So do you want to talk about some of the other things that we should be doing? I know you've mentioned. Okay, sorry, we have somebody that needs to be on mute, please. I don't know if in the background, for me, if we could have that person put on mute, please, that would be great. I'm sure he or she is unaware. Thank you. And so what I wanted you to comment on is, so in terms of taking some of that control, some of that ownership ourselves, and I know that you have done some of that, what are the things that you put out there that we should be thinking about? And I know you've talked about working more, and even as someone who is taking advantage of my sort of retirement payout as well. I still make I'm still very much interested in being employed, and I've started my own business. But what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the things that we should be doing to take control and still have that safety net in whatever ways we can do that going forward? That safety net, so that all is still well with us, regardless of the other things that happen in relation to the pension contributions or whatever it is that we make.
Thank you. One of the first things really is to keep a healthy lifestyle, because nothing affects a pension more than having to pay for your own health. So while you are living your life, remember that when you turn 50, 55, 60, I mean, you are a machine. We're human beings are machines. And the longer you live, the longer there's wear and tear.
Yeah.
And if you spend your pension from hospital to hospital, so that's the first thing. To prepare for pension, you really have to have a healthy lifestyle. The other issue is this: you've already talked about the fact that whether it is contributory pension in the public space or even the government, where you have defined benefits, there are risks involved. So you have to de-risk by having your own private savings somehow. And that savings may be, abroad, for example, you have a house that you quickly pay off. That's another way of saving. Or you have 401k, at least some separate savings, separate from the pension. I always say that pension, for those who normally retire, pension is not sudden, so you have to plan for it.
Yeah.
The other issue is to understand too that the kind of expenses or the kind of responsibilities you have before pension cannot remain the same after pension. So you let people know. I know that you cannot continue to live a lifestyle before pension that you will live after pension. So the kinds of gifts you give, the kinds of vehicle you drive, the kind of travels you make, you constantly have to watch your money, because if you don't want to be depending on your parents, on your children, one of the things I know very clearly was that my parents really did not depend on us for us to be giving them money on a monthly basis. In fact, we took money from them too, even after they were retired. And that's something that you must always remember, that the Nigerian context is always that you are working so that your children can feed you. But in fact, in this day and age, many of our own children are living with us.
Yeah.
So that's another context you have to understand. That when you are pensioned, in fact, you may have to have enough not only for yourself, but for your children and grandchildren. Let me stop at that for now.
That last point, thank you so much. You touched on so many things there. That last point is so real. I mean, I remember having a conversation with my mother not that long ago, when we were talking about children and having children and all of that. And I said, what's wrong if somebody chooses not to have children, because it's not compulsory that they do. And she was like, well, if you don't have children, who's going to look after me? You know, who's going to take care of me in my old age? That's why we had the children that we had. And of course, you know, we're from a generation, I mean, you guys, Bumi said it earlier, there were 6 of you. In my family, there were 5. And that's during you know, my parents and their peers tended to have those numbers of children, right? But what we find is that our own children now, they're looking more in the space of 1 or 2 children. So they are very unlikely to be there for you or to be there for us in the way that we would financially, you know, as our parents would have financially expected us to be there for them. So having that orientation change that says, I really do need to make sure that I'm okay. I need to make sure that I'm a bit thrifty, as you said, watching the way we spend our money and actually investing more so that it lasts for longer. And if you can work more, I mean, you know, that's great as well. I must say something. When something else. When I left my corporate job, and I've worked in the corporate space for many years, over 25 years. And I decided I wanted to pursue coaching, a new career change, etc. And this is something that happens to a lot of us as well. When we move into our sort of mid sort of 50s and onward, you know, we feel that need to do something more meaningful, that change. And I had to look at a number of things before I was going to exit. It took me a year to exit because I needed to plan well. And I have to say, Bumi, the NARP was quite fundamental, Bumi particularly, in terms of checking in on a lot of things that I needed to do. Because while financial advisors are very good, they're there about the finance, but you need to have a more holistic plan around how you prepare for that retirement space. And Bumi was, and by the way, we're getting some fantastic comments coming in, thank you. And I found that I was able to, because Bumi has a financial background, I don't have one. I just try and read a lot and educate myself, and we should all try and do that. But I was able to, with Bumi's help through the NARP, just go through a number of things that I needed to think about in terms of preparing. And certainly quite a bit of that, I have to say, was on the financial side, just to make sure that I was being as robust enough, because I knew that I still had responsibilities that I needed to make sure I took care of. So, you know, I'm a lot of what you've said there has really resonated, even the piece around lifestyle. You know, I'm a very active walker. I've been walking for many years. I'm even the founder of a walking group called WalkZest. And the idea is to encourage people to beat the sedentary lifestyle. And it's been running for a number of years now. And I thank God for it, because now I find that it's something I take great pleasure in, but I can see it as something that I will grow old doing, and it will be for my benefit, you know? So I really love.
You know, when I was when Bumi asked me to do this, first, you know, I have 2 sisters, and they are always asking me to do something for them, which I never can refuse. You know, they're always very insistent, and I always obey them. You know, even though they are much younger than myself. But when I sent her my picture, she said, "I don't look 65." You know, and I thank God for that, really. I mean, you just don't let go of yourself. I mean, you do sports. I don't do as much sport as I should, but you do sports. You just take good care of yourself. You don't. I stopped eating beef for quite some time now. I'm not a vegan by any means, but once I hear that something is not too good for you, then you just reduce it, you know, because eventually it catches up with you.
Yeah. Oh, I spot on, and thank you for that input there. I mean, you're very right. There are things that we need to make sure that we do, and you know, much earlier on.
Also, sorry, and I wanted to add that immediately I turned 50. I joined AARP in the US, you know, because that's why I support
NARP.
effort here. I joined AARP because they send a good newsletter that tells you about lifestyle, and then you see quite a lot of discounts here and there, triple AAA, a hotel, and they add up. I mean, you know.
Absolutely, and it speaks.
Ms. Farah, we have some questions.
Okay.
So I will call on Dr. Jayesimi to unmute himself and ask a question he has put on the chat. Is that okay, Farah?
Yes, at this juncture, yes. Let's take some questions. Thank you, Bumi. Okay. Let's do that.
Dr. Jayesimi. Dr. Jayesimi.
Yes, good evening. Thank you for inviting me. I'm a contented member of NAP. Yeah, I joined NAP here and I haven't regretted it. My question is, with the life expectancy in Nigeria being 50 to 55, how would you advise us, that is Nigerians, approaching the mid-40s? Because the life expectancy is 50 to 55 and not 60 or 70. So what would you advise to the younger ones?
Can I butt in there a bit before I hand over to Professor Aliko to answer that?
Yes, please.
What I have been told about life expectancy in Nigeria is that it is skewed because of the infancy mortality rate. And therefore, the 0 to 5 years is very high. The mortality rate 0 to 5 is very high, and that dampens the life expectancy. Because you still see people in Nigeria that are in their 80s, 90s, even 100 still living. So that life expectancy of 50, 55 is deceptive. It is skewed on statistics, and therefore we can't use that to judge that, oh, at 55 we're all going to die. The issue is planning for retirement starts from the day you start working. But I'm going to hand this over to Professor Aliko, as he is a living example of what to do.
Thank you. Well, you know, I told you I retired from Howard University in 2014. That was because when I came in 2011 to do my VCship in Nigeria, I was on sabbatical from 2011 to 2014. And in 2014, my university in the US said, you better come back or retire. So I was forced, well, I chose to retire from Howard at 2014 so that I could complete my 2011 to 2016 job in Nigeria. But I joined a contributory pension scheme in Nigeria in 2011. So I had 2011 to 2016. And remember, in Nigeria, the university was contributing, I think, 8% of my salary. And then I was contributing 7%, 15%. That became 10% and 8% by the time I left. When you have an 8% or 15% contributory scheme, that means every 6 years of your contribution, 6 to 7 years, you are actually contributing your full annual salary to the pension. You know, because 15 times 6 or 7 comes to about 90 to 100%, or just a little bit more. So that's how you think of it, that every 6 years of your service, you contribute 1 year of your salary. And 1 year of my total university salary to Turkey was quite substantial, such that by the end of 6 years, when I retired, my portfolio, you know, a university VC in Nigeria earns twice the salary of the highest paid full professor. So I got quite a lot of money in my portfolio, and I was allowed to take as what they now call gratuity. I was allowed to take, I think, 25% or 30% of that out.
Mm.
And so that I got a gratuity of about 25% of my annual salary paid at once. And they now said that for the rest of the money will continue to be invested. And I started to get a monthly money. So I do get a monthly pension from my, what they call my PFA.
Yeah.
My, yes, that's the premium financial something. I get a monthly pension from that. And very recently, even that was increased because the money had been invested. It had gotten to a certain amount, and I think there's a law that says that if the amount that was invested on your behalf increases by a certain percentage, then you again can go back to them and take some of that out, or it be reinvested. And so recently, even that amount was increased. So there is a benefit in the contributory pension. And if you do it right, you can actually increase your pension during the period that they start to pay you. So I'm an example of a situation where I contributed early, I got some gratuity, I got some what they call lump sum payment when I started being paid. And even that premium has increased during the period I started.
Okay. Ms. Flora, we have Dr. Kemi Wale Olaiton that has asked a few questions. Can you unmute Dr. Kemi and ask your questions, ma? Dr. Olaiton. Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm really happy about this. I made a comment earlier on. I'm trying to ask a question. Now, the comment I made was that it's important for us to begin to think of how to train people who are close to retirement on the principles of entrepreneurship, because it's almost impossible to live on the pension that we get at retirement, because from time to time, yearly, you notice that things change. The level of financial freedom, changes, and things get inflation, increases yearly. So that's my first comment, that we should look at a situation where I don't know your organization, I've never heard of it, I'm hearing of it for the first time, but if it's an organization that's like a pressure group or a group where pensioners get together, I think it's important to begin to look at how to help those who are close to retirement to begin to be trained on entrepreneurship, so that when they're retired, they can also work on this. Now, my other question now is, someone like me, for example, I retired from the broadcast industry earlier, and now I'm in the academics, and I'm close to retirement again. But what I'm getting right now from my first retirement is grossly inadequate. It's not something that anyone could live on. And if I add what I'm getting now in my second profession, if I get to retire again, by the time I put them together, I'm sure inflation would have increased, a lot of things, so that it will still not be enough So for someone in my situation, what would you advise that I begin to do now to prepare? Thank you.
Well,
Thank you so much. There were quite a few comments there. Bumi, I think you're also going to speak to some of the things that were said, but let me say a few things, and then by all means, please add, because the thing around pressure groups, I believe you were saying that this is the first time you've heard about NARP, and I know that that's an ambition. NARP has an ambition to have anyone over 50 and above a member, and what that means, when you have that kind of critical mass, it means that you have influence, and you can start to be an influencer in terms of policy changes and you know, laws and various things like that. So I know that Bumi can speak more about that. I think that you're very you're very right when you talk about the necessity. There is, and I would say it's even beyond just teaching about entrepreneurship for individuals who are looking towards retirement. I think it covers more than that. It's the financial literacy piece. It's the what will you do, which is the entrepreneurship that you just talked about. And guess what? You know, for some people, entrepreneurship is actually not going to be for them, because not everybody can be an entrepreneur. But what else can they do? You know, in terms of ensuring that they still have they still have a good financial bedrock that they can live with, right? So it's going to be things around what they're probably investing their, what they're investing in. You know, do they have property? Do they have any sort of capital investments? Any things like sort of mutual funds, treasury bills, all those kind of things, because there are so many other ways that people can actually build wealth. Beyond, if working is not for them. I mean, it's important to be working, but sometimes it won't necessarily be for the purpose of gaining an income that is going to cover everything that you financially need to do in terms of all your liabilities. So there's actually quite a broad, there's quite a broad range that I see organizations like NARP being able to lead on. I mean, for myself, I'm a career coach, a career transition coach, and it's one of the areas I speak to. But I know that the NRP have a lot that they can do. And one last thing, Bumi, I know that you want to say something. You also talked about the lady that asked questions. She also talked about contributions that had been made towards her pension and the impact of inflation. You're very right. I mean, this is Nigeria, for example, and we know that we've just had the whole coronavirus thing is still on, and there's been lots in the news about how we've entered a recession, inflation is going up. That has an impact on interest, and the fact that whatever it is that we're investing in terms of a pension is going to reap less. So one of the things I will definitely encourage, and a lot of the a lot of the people that know these things more than me, because I'm not a financial person, is that where you have the opportunity to make additional or voluntary contributions to your pension, because obviously it's tax-free, please look into doing that. Obviously get financial advice, but it's definitely something that you should consider doing if you are able to do it. Bumi, I know that you want to say a few things.
Yeah, I want Professor to talk about that, because he has the experience, he's gone through it. He can tell us how he maneuvered from his two retired positions, and how he's sustaining himself as well now. Because it's not only about entrepreneurship, it's also about, he's moved from being a professor to a vice chancellor to an advisor in a political space. So I guess he has transitioned as well. So I want him to talk about his own life experience, and maybe we can all draw from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The first thing is really to lower expectations. You know, when you say you don't have enough, even a rich person still sometimes does not have enough. So if you're earning a certain amount of money before retirement, and you can fill that time with all the money you have, but with retirement, you have to lower your expectations. If you went to every wedding, You have to ensure that you go to only those weddings that you miss. If you buy gele, or so for if every friend is your friend, you have to let them know that you are in retirement now, and you cannot do
a glitch. We seem to have a glitch from his end, but I guess what he's trying to say is lifestyle changes. I guess we have to
everything that you used to do. Even I here. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Number
Please
two
speak
is
louder. Some people can't
okay.
hear you. Speak louder. Yes.
Okay. Number two is that, look, I have family abroad, and I'm constantly, and my salary, my American salary.
Oh, he's put. Can you unmute him, please? He's unmuted. Okay.
Yeah, my American salary has reduced. Somebody keeps muting me. Okay, I'm back on.
We can hear you. Please go ahead.
My American salary has reduced by almost a third since my coming to Nigeria. I mean, when I came to Nigeria in 2011, the exchange rate between Nigeria and the US, I believe, was 165 to 1. Now it is 470 to 1. And I have to tell my kids the true situation, that the kinds of monies I could send abroad, the kinds of generosity, they had to make their own contributions to the home. It's a matter of fact. You have to let people know the true condition you are in. That's part of it too. Honesty about your situation.
Yeah.
You have to be honest about your situation so that people can understand where you are coming from. You know, so that's what I can say. You have to lower your expectations, and you have to be honest about your true situation, and the people will understand. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can I have one add to that?
Flora, I have one more person.
Okay.
Miss Sam Oyekon has something to say in the chat. Mr. Oyekon, can you unmute and add something about the pension, whatever, pension?
Okay, thank you, ma. What I wanted to, the questions I wanted to ask is, number one, how much is the percentage of our contributed retirement savings account funds that could be withdrawn at retirement at age 65? Have you got the question? Okay. The second one, should retirees get their lump sums or gratuities and pensions immediately after retirement or months or years later? Then my advice is that those of us retiring in Nigerian environment, it may be better for us to think of other retirement windows, such as saving in our retirement savings accounts with cooperative society of our institutions or organizations, as well as even having some savings with some banks, which will span over about 4 to 5 or more years, and maybe insurance. Then at retirement, I think someone made mention of entrepreneurship at retirement. I think it's okay, but at retirement, our body systems are declining. We should slow down a lot so that we don't run into health challenges, which will consume our gratuities or the pensions we are being given monthly. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
If I
you.
could just say a word about the percentage, that usually is determined by the pension fund that you are in. As I mentioned, I was only given 25% or 30% because they have some calculations that they do. They look at the age at which you're retiring, the spread, they have an annuity calculation, and they spread, after they have taken a particular lump sum away from your portfolio, they spread the rest over a certain actuarial number of years that they believe that you will still live. And they want to be sure that what they pay you during that actuarial number of years is within a certain percentage of, I guess, a mean salary or something. And then they determine the amount they will give to you. If, of course, if you have accumulated a lot and they see that if they give you 50% of that, your actuarial, what you take back after a certain number of years is good, they'll give you 50%. But typically, it's never more than 25 to 30%. And it's better to take it up front because you never know how long you are going to live, you know? So you better take as much as you can up front and then spread the rest over the number of years that God gives you to live. Thank you.
But
and in
do
terms
you
of
have a plan?
entrepreneurship.
Yeah. But do you have a plan for that? When you take, obviously, I know Professor would say this as well, that you should have a plan for what you're going to do if you are taking that early payout.
Yeah, well, it depends on the size of it. I mean, it depends on the size of it. You can take that out and invest some of it. In fact, I believe that I did get some. I did buy some treasury bills, Nigerian treasury bills, with some of the money that I got. And but you know, when you also have a dependency in America, and you convert some of that money to dollars, it doesn't take a lot for that to be used up. So my own situation is a little bit different. But, you know, I'm always skeptical about the issue of doing business and thinking that you will multiply that amount. Business is a risk. And as somebody said, if you have all your life not being a business person, retirement is not the best time to start becoming a businessman or an entrepreneur. I mean, except you are doing it with a lot of other people, therefore you share the risk. But if I know of people who have retired, in fact, I know of a person, he retired as a permanent secretary of Agric, and he thought that, well, okay, all this money, I'll become an agriculturist. He started to do fish farming. He said, man, I'm losing money like no man's business. So if you're not careful, you'll just lose all the money that you have.
Yeah, which is why we had one question, which was a good idea to do something to help people prepare for that new phase of life. Bumi, what have we got next in terms of questions or comments, please? Thank you very much, Prof.
Okay, I would like to ask Prof, because he's in the system right now, on the new process of paying the pensions. I spoke with him earlier, and I want him to explain what the Lagos state government and Ekiti state government are doing in order to address the backlog on pensions, because a lot of our members are suffering. Some of them have not received their pensions since 2012, 13, 14, 15. It's really bad. But I know that the governments are trying to come up with some new instruments or whatever, but I, even as a financial person, I'm struggling to understand the instrument they're introducing. And what is it that they are dumping things on our pensioners and leaving them to the vagaries of the economy? I want Professor to explain that, because that is a real issue right now on how we can deal with this issue, because pensioners are suffering. Every day we get people calling, how can we get their pension from the state government? And we really don't have that voice, because we're just building up. And that's why we need more members in the association, so that we have a solid voice to help our pensioners. What can we do, Prof? Or explain to us, is it a good thing? Is it going to solve the situation, or are you just leaving our pensioners high and dry?
Okay. Thank you, Bumi. Let me make a distinction between pension and gratuity. Okay? Pension and gratuity. Normally, pensions get paid with salaries. Okay? In the best of circumstances, and in Ekiti, for example, when salaries are paid, pensions are paid. When salaries are not paid, pensions are not paid. When salaries are owed, pensions are owed. So let's make a distinction between and in Ekiti, the salary burden includes the pension burden. What you hear most often is a gratuity burden. And when you heard about Ekiti trying to have a smart or innovative scheme to pay some pensioners, it was to pay their gratuity. Okay, so because a gratuity is, it does not, it's a gratuity is a gratuity. It's just, okay, you have finished. I thank you for working. I pay you this amount of money, and it does not draw any interest. You almost cannot sue to get your gratuity. You can sue to get your pension. You almost cannot sue to get your gratuity, because a gratuity is a gratuity. Okay, so, but a lot of pensioners still hope to get a lump sum. Sometimes pensioners, the lump sum they get is the largest amount of money they've ever had in their lives together. You know, if you, some of them can get a gratuity of 1.2 million naira, or even 500,000 naira. That is the largest amount of money they have ever had in their life, because they have never had salaries as high as that. And even if they did, when you take away all the taxes and so on, so they're always looking forward to their gratuity. So what Ekiti owes is about 12.5 billion naira of gratuity to state workers, and another about 13 billion naira to local government workers. And they had paid those gratuities up until 2012 for local government workers, and 2013 to state government workers. And the idea was that now we will start to just pay 10 million naira per month or 100 million naira per month to pay off gratuities. But when you do that, new retirees have to wait another 6-7 years to get their own gratuity. So while you are paying off gratuities presently, you are incurring more gratuities by those who are retiring. And even those 10 million, there are times when a palm set all by himself gets 5 million naira. So if you are paying 10 million into the gratuity post, it may only be 3 or 4 people, that's per month now. It may only be 2, 3 or 4 people who get it in that month. And yet that month, maybe about 20 people retire. So you constantly are chasing your tail. So what actually, in the first 2 weeks of my being a special advisor, the governor had put on my desk that I should talk with, I think it was AXA Mansa, who had come and made a proposal for the insurance company to take this burden off from government, to ask to pay the gratuity at a discount, to come to a voluntary agreement with pensioners that, look, you are expected to be paid 1 million naira as gratuity. The government does not have 1 million naira to pay you. If you wait, maybe if you wait for 15 years, they'll pay you your gratuity, but we are ready to pay you 30% of that gratuity today, or you wait for 15, 20 years before it gets to your turn. By that time, you may be dead. So the financial institution agree. It's not forced on the pension. Those who still don't want to go that route still have the government owe them their gratuity. But then the government, now instead of owing these people 300 million naira, now owes the financial institution maybe 100 million. And that institution is prepared to have you distribute that over a certain number of years. So that's what we're doing now. We are giving the pensioner the option to wait for their gratuity as long as the government is prepared to pay them, or get a certain percentage of it now from the financial institution. The hope is that when you have that amount of money, if instead of 12.5 billion, if they pay 4 billion naira to pensioners today, most of that money will be spent in Ekiti State, and it will increase the economy of Ekiti State, and even the government will now be able to still pay other people well. So that's the finances behind that. It has not been agreed yet, but a lot of pensioners are looking seriously at it, and I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. Prof, can I just clarify? Is it a case of gratuity or pension or both in the Ekiti State?
It is gratuity. The pensions are being paid.
Oh, right.
The pensions are being paid.
Okay. Okay. Bumi?
Does anybody have any questions?
I'm looking at the time.
Yeah, we're almost done now.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions on that? Because I feel it's a little bit unfair for a pensioner waiting for gratuity since 2012, 2013, and then they are told to take 30% of that. But I guess they have no choice because there's no money. But does anybody have any comments on that before we close? This is actually 1 hour. I want to stay within the 1 hour so that the next time we say it's an hour, you join. But
Yeah.
we're hoping to do this again, another topic next month, with another guest speaker as well. Any questions on this, on the new way of paying? I know Lagos State too is using this method as well, and I'm sure other states will follow.
Yeah, I just feel this is Moren Kenjaisim. I just feel that that's a bit unfair on people who've worked for many years, and that yes, it is okay for them to take the money, but I would believe that the government should still have a liability on them to repay as and when, to have a plan for the balance of the money, because it seems unfair for people who have worked hard. Even I'm talking from the UK, even in the UK, it seems that younger people now feel that their pension, because of the time value of money, will erode and will account to nothing. So maybe there should be a criteria that the balance could be paid as and when, even if they are not within their lifetime, to their children and children's children. That's just my view of how they can build that in as a potential liability for the future when the economy turns or when the state has the capability of earning more money, because it's quite discouraging if it's just take it or leave it kind of option. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
My sister Morenica, the gratuity, you see, before now, it was unsustainable for government to pay full pension monies to everybody in society. It was unsustainable, okay? And the gratuity too was part of the unsustainable system. I mean, what has been happening is that for all over the year, the government has been paying 100% of the pension of workers in Nigeria. And on top of that, when you are now leaving, they now say, we're going to pay you 1.2 million naira. It has not caught up to us, okay? So when you say that it is unfair, it was simply because government had just made a determination to say, if you retire, I'll give you this amount of money. It was not, there was no basis to do that. It's different from the contributory pension where, okay, government pays 8% into a particular pool, you pay 7% into that pool, you work for 30, 40 years, it has nothing to do, government has paid its own portion, you have paid your own portion to a private institution. Then when you retire, you now go to that institution and you negotiate with that group to pay you either 25% or 30% of that lump sum. That lump sum now is the gratuity. So I would suggest that anybody who is owed money, who does not know that he's going to be paid in 6 months or 1 year or 3 years, he better get his pension, the gratuity that is being offered now. Because if he dies, he will not get it, and his family will find it difficult to get it. It's just reasonable. It's just reasonable.
Okay. Miss Flora.
Yes.
Thank you. Can you ask
Please,
the final question?
Sorry, before the final question, please. Hello.
Okay. Go on.
My name is Arinola Oyegunwa.
Okay.
I'm a federal civil servant, and we do contributory pension scheme. And the federal government has been, faithful and fulfilling their obligation as when it comes to paying the retirees as at when due, which I feel is laudable. I would like to encourage Ekiti government to toe the line of the federal government, to encourage contributory pension scheme, so that when these people have paid their part of while working, and now they are now retired, they have paid certain percentage, government has paid certain percentage. I think after retirement, they should be given a lump sum, the gratuity. They should be able to move forward in life, because retirement itself is a kind of, how will I say, is an emotion that they cannot really express. And now when they are now being denied of certain percent, some means of quality livelihood, I don't think it's good enough. And that's
Madam Arinola, Ekiti now has a contributory pension scheme. Any new person hired by Ekiti State joins the contributory pension. What happened was that people who are joined way back in the past, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Even some of them were given the option of joining the contributory pension, but many of them were skeptical. So Ekiti has now, any new person now, they are part of a contributory pension.
Oh, okay. Then I would like
these are legacy.
We have to close now.
Legacy.
Just a minute before we close, please. I want to know more about NARP 50 plus.
I'll say that at the end, just for Prof host to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe Prof say the last word.
Okay. All right. So we're well over time now. So let me just just say a few words. Bumi, Professor Aliko, thank you. Thank you very much for all your words today. I think you've enlightened so many of us. I learned so much from you. Very much appreciate and hope that we have the opportunity again to share time with you. Bumi and the NARP team, thank you so much. And most especially thank you to everybody who has dialed in today to listen to this session. Please make sure that you join us for further sessions to come. So I'd like to hand over to Bumi now. Thank you for the privilege, Bumi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, my brother Bolaji. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. And thank you for everyone that has joined. NARP 50 Plus is known by the acronym. It is fashioned after the American Association of Retired People, AARP, and the Canadian Association of Retired People, CARP, and so many other associations like this on the globe. So what our mission is to ensure that anyone over 50 becomes a member, and through the membership, we enjoy discounts, privileges, and benefits, and we maintain an active adult life. We have so many partners with organizations in the marketplace. We have with First Bank, FBN Insurance, Glow, hospitals, so many hospitals and pharmacies, to ensure that we do not pay the normal rates that the normal people, other people pay. So just introducing senior discounts into our community, and also other customized services based on your individual needs as a member. Our membership is open to everyone, every class in the society. We have members that are food vendors. We have members that are taxi drivers. And obviously we have members like Professor. We have members that are senators. So we cut across all economic classes, and we're just here to ensure that after 50, we are sort of recognized. And I'm hoping that we get more members so that we have a louder voice, and we can add on to policies so that when we're going on the train, on the bus, on the airways, we get discounted fares, and even healthcare. Healthcare is very big. So, but we need advocacy. And for our advocacy to be strong, we need membership. We have membership from free to some payment plans because we are driven by donation and the membership fees. That's how we survive. So please go onto our website. Is www.narp50plus.com, or you can contact us on info@narp50plus.com, or call 0902 0000038. Thank you so much. We've gone over by 16 minutes. We're going to be calling upon you to join the Zoom meetings for other meetings as well, to educate ourselves, to make sure that we're on track, and to also educate our children, because now from what we're seeing, there's going to be a lot of reform in retirement space, no money to continue with the gratuity and all these things that our parents and even some of us have enjoyed. So it's time for us to start educating our children, because at one point they will also get into this space. So thank you so much for joining us during your Sunday evening. Thank you so much. And I look forward to you joining us as members of NARP 50 Plus, and also spread the word. Thank you. and God bless you mightily.
Thank you too. God bless.
Well done, guys. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for this.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
bye,
you.
everyone.
Thank you, Prof. Eshio, Brother Balaji. God bless.
I just told somebody that above your actuarial age, nobody gets killed up. Just continue to live on. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pastor Deshola is saying thank you from Yabatek.
Ah, Pastor Eshio, thank you.
Otitoju,
Pastor.
how are you?
Ah, Mr. Otitoju, thank you. Chief Otitoju, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Otitoju. How are you?
Thank you, everyone.
Chief Dilom Manasseh, thank you.
Ano, thank you.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye,
Thank
sir.
you, Prof.
Take care.
Bye.
Hello. Catch you. Take you.
Bye. Later.
Bye.